What's up, guys? As I'm sure most of you already know, a new free-to-play night map called Zavod Graveyard Shift was added as part of the summer patch for Battlefield 4 with the patch that just came out this last Tuesday. What I wanted to do, of course, in this video is give down my thoughts, the pros and cons, and the small sample size I've had playing the map, in addition to strategies we can discuss in the comment section, whether obvious, new, cheap, you don't like them, anything with regard to it. I really like discussions. I like discussing these new aspects, and this map's one of them. With regard to getting the map, it's a bit different. I thought it would be as part of the patch, but it wasn't. So unless this has changed in the last 24 hours since I've made this video, as of now you have to go into the Origin store if you're on PC and download the map as a separate DLC. But don't worry, it's free. On console, go to your respective store, whether it's PlayStation or Xbox, search for Battlefield, search through the DLCs, and download it there again. And again, it's free, I'll emphasize it. It should be about 750 megs, so bear that in mind if you're the kind of guy like me who has to use his local university internet because his bandwidth and overage charges are a disgrace. Bear that in mind before you go downloading it. And it should be there in the DLC store, and you're on your way. As I'm sure most of you have already played this plenty of times in the CTE, so it might not be new to you. Because of my, like I said earlier, bandwidth cap and nasty overages, I can't download and keep up with CTE updates, so this is brand new to me. If it's old to you and it's old news, so be it. For me, it's brand new, and it's a good source of discussion for me. So of course what I'll be doing, like I said earlier, is I'll be discussing the pros and cons of what I think about the maps thus far and strategies on my small sample size of playing. I'll also be discussing any strategies I've learned that worked early on for me, and hopefully we can discuss new, overlooked, or old strategies in the comments section, as well as your thoughts, whatever you want. So first I'll break down any strats I've used before I go into the pros and cons. With this map, fog was added to prevent an increase in brightness or gamma advantage. It still exists, but I haven't seen a prominent advantage by fiddling with the settings, which like if it was a strategy you could do that, but I'm not the type to do that. I like the immersion. I like trying out a new map as it is. But just for anyone that does look for that every little bit of millimeters worth of advantage to try and use, I don't think you're going to find one here unless someone's found an exploit. And that would be in the pros as well. We'll get to that. I've tended to stick to the perimeters and flanks of the map even more so than I do in the day version. The night offers you the chance to flank even more, and even with the prominent amount of the FLIR scopes and the IRNV scopes and their usage, many people really tend to stick to the building fights. So a lot of the time this allows you to go around undetected while flanking. Though a lot of the time if you are caught flanking, you're dead because the guy has a scope and you won't even get a chance to see him firing back. As usual, using the recon class with a spawn beacon can keep you behind enemy lines just about all match as long as you hide that beacon effectively. Double this up with a suppressor on a carbine with the recon class, and you should pretty much stay off the map the whole match as long as you stay behind some cover so they can't spot you. In terms of loadouts, I really like using the IRNV scope and the tactical light. And the reason why this is different than the flashlight, because the flashlight stays on at all times unless you turn it off and on. The tactical light only turns on when you aim down sights. It doesn't blind you, and you don't have to worry about toggling it on and off repeatedly. It both blinds and lights up your target in short to medium range, but make sure you don't actually aim down sights unless you're going to shoot, because you'll really tip off where you are. In terms of using tanks and LAVs, of course I prefer the IRNV optics as both driver and gunner. Soldiers really light up as expected, but bear in mind, mines as well as other explosives threats do as well. The only concern is looking at flares, the lights, because there are natural lights spread out throughout the map that are completely destructible, by the way, and headlights of other oncoming vehicles which were introduced, as these will serve to blind you at close to medium range, so keep your distance and make sure you use that old familiar pillaring strategy to keep out of line of sight in between shots so you're not blinded. The other thing too a lot of the time is even if you are blinded by the light, you can shoot at that light source a lot of the time, and that's where the target will be. Again, nothing new here at the next point, but as a reminder, don't push beyond your soldier teammates in a vehicle and keep moving at all times. I've noticed a huge amount of C4 sneaky guys thinking, hey, it's night out, let's go for the C4 kills. So be wary of them, and it really helps to have a gunner light up and spot and kill threats for you as well. So if you have an option of a gunner, take it. But bear in mind that those C4 sneaky guys have really been brought up prominent since the night maps, more so than usual. When you push up, flares are nasty. If you consider that many people are going to be using the FLIR scopes, etc., flares completely kill those scopes because they blind you when you look into them. You also use smoke as normal additionally, that doesn't change. This map is also, like I said earlier, alluded to, it's lined with tons of different lamps and light sources. You can break most, if not all of these, to further push your progression without worrying about where the enemy is or lighting yourself up. Or you could even serve to confuse your opponent. Many times you can play that sort of cat and mouse strategy where if they have to push towards you, you can shoot the lights out and they'll think, oh, okay, now I'll just push right through, and they'll just walk right into an area that you're looking at and you'll just gun them down repeatedly. Some might differ and say leave the lights because that way it lights everyone up. And that might actually be beneficial as well, especially if you're not using an FLIR scope. But again, cat and mouse. Hopefully if you're with your teammates on the same page, then you can employ one strategy and it's most effective for everyone. But that one thing I've really liked about the map so far in terms of, well, okay, I'll get into this. In terms of the overall pros of the map, I really like how it feels and how it looks. I personally live with a forest surrounding my house, and this map seems very similar to how it feels in October around my place minus the war zone. That fog, that eerie darkness feel, the owl, the crickets, everything in the background, the atmosphere actually makes it a lot of fun to play. More fun than the day version to me. The second point is it's a very different overall experience. The same map I'm sure plenty of us have played hundreds of times by now had to actually stop. I had to several times stop and collect my bearings, well, more than once, just to see where I am and where I'm going to go next. Darker areas such as the underground tunnel connecting the buildings is, well, it's blindingly dark unless you have some sort of light or flashlight to illuminate the area for you. It's extremely dark. There are very dark areas in the map that you need some light source. The next point, a pro for it again too, I feel the overall pace of the map is slower, and that's a good thing if you're a far more cerebral player. If you're a hectic run and gun, sprint, dive and everything, don't care if you die, you're going to just go down with the ship type, I don't think you're going to enjoy it as much. You definitely have to plan out your route between flags more and look for places for cover on your route. Because a lot of the time in daytime, you'd see an enemy on the other side and you'd be able to counter fire in time if he sees you on your route. In the night maps, you will not have that option because he'll be hidden, he'll have a night vision scope, and you will not see him and you'll have no chance to fire back. So you definitely have to plan out your cover route, and you have to plan strategically. And directly related to that, in what can be both a pro and a con, it does change up strategies and loadouts completely. Almost everyone I've seen runs around with some combination of the FLIR scope, the IRNV scope, laser sights, which are really nice to blind people in close range, flashlights, tactical lights, or some sort of combo of all of the above that allows for the lighting an area or blinding your opponent. So especially since the map is new, expect the above gadgets to be used and spammed quite a bit, but it is significantly different than usual. That feel is both enjoyable and, for now at least, extremely fun. I'm not sure if the novelty of it will wear off in time, but for now I'm definitely enjoying it. In terms of the cons, as stated previously, if you're a hectic run and gun type of player, you probably won't enjoy it as much. You definitely have to be more cerebral and slow and deliberate with your actions. Many people patrol around certain areas to reduce the odds of them getting shot from any one of 360 degree possible angles. And this goes double because you can't see enemies often in versus the day map, so it encourages a more slower and cautious style. Impatience normally gets you killed, double that factor here. As stated earlier again, everyone runs around with some sort of combination of a light, an infrared scope, or some sort of lighting for an area. Some will call this spam and complain about little variation in weapon attachments and vehicle loadouts. But again, this is subjective. Me personally, I don't care about these changes for this one particular map. It's not like it's 5 or 6 of possible 10 maps that you have to choose and only choose these strategies. This is one particularly localized map. It's not a big deal if everyone uses the same loadout to me. But again, it may bother you, just to point that out, because you will see a lot of the same common loadouts. Lastly, sniper scopes still somehow, will throw the logistics argument out because it's a video game here, still have glint, which dramatically stands out even more, of course, now. So if you're the type of sniper that likes to stand around, stay scoped, not move around a lot, I wish you the best of luck staying alive, because you're going to need it. And even luck probably won't be a factor. You'll probably still get smashed. And the last con, again, sort of nitpicky. It could be a map that burns out quickly. Right now it's a lot of fun because it's new. It's something to experiment with. You get to try out all sorts of new weapons and different strategies that you didn't really get the chance to try out in the night maps, which for me is a big pro, of course. The possible con, of course, is that it may fade. It might be a niche, and it leads to unpopulated servers if you're specifically going for this map, which means you might not be able to find this map in a couple of months or a month or two from now. We'll see how it plays out. I hope not, because I actually really enjoy playing this map. So to conclude, overall, I've really enjoyed playing this map. I love the new feel it has for it. I like the new weapon attachments. I like how it's more cerebral. I like how I don't have to worry about running around like a chicken with its head cut off. I could take my time. I can be more cerebral. I can change my loadouts. I can do whatever I wish now, and I don't have to worry about like rushing into situations. It just seems more... It's a new feel to it, and that's what I like about it. If you have any new pros and cons you think I missed, make sure to post it in the comment section. We'll have a good discussion and dialogue. See you later, everyone.